So the very first thing I'd like to talk about is the navigation of the phone. So towards the left, we have our headset, which allows us to make and take calls. But say, for example, if we want to put our call on speaker, we have our speaker right there. Next to that, we have our 5 programmable keys, 5 on one side, then 5 on the other. Now, the reason why they're called programmable is because you can either program it to be a speed dial or another BLF key. On the top, we have our indicator light, which flashes anytime we receive a voicemail or make a call. Below that, we have our 4 soft keys. Now, the reason why they're called soft keys is because they're software-based and they change depending on the menu that you're in. So if I click history, I see my soft keys have changed. In the middle, we have our 3.5-inch screen, which is not touchscreen. The first programmable key that you see shows your extension. So my extension is 123. Below that, we have our numerical pad, which technically a phone wouldn't be a phone without one. Next to that, we have our arrow keys, which depending on the menu that we're in are usable. So if I click history and I hit our arrow keys, I see that they're usable. We can also hit the X to get out of that menu. Next to that, we have 2 other BLF keys. One is the headset, which lets you know anytime you have a headset plugged in, you can activate it that way and it turns on or turn it off. Next to that, we have our mute button, which allows us to mute any calls that we're on. Below that, we have our voicemail key, which if you click it, basically would ask you for your PIN. You type it in and then you receive your voicemails. Next to that, we have the hold button, which depending on if we're a call, we can basically place that call on hold, take care of whatever we need to take care of, and then come back and press hold again. Below that, we have our transfer button, which allows us to transfer a call to another party. On the left of that, we have our redial key, which allows us to redial a call if we would like. And below that, we have our speakerphone, which if you click it, basically places any calls that you make on speaker. Towards the bottom, we have our volume keys, which have 3 different actions. First action, if you want to configure the ringtone volume, leave it in the same setting that it is previously. If you want to configure the volume for the headset, you pick up the headset, use the volume keys there. And if you want to configure it for the speaker, you hit the speaker button first, and then hit the volume keys afterward. Now, the very first thing I like to talk about is creating a call. Now, you have 3 different ways of doing it. The first we can do it is via the headset, which mind you have to have a separate device plugged into the back in order to do that. Below that, we have the speakerphone is the second option. And then the last option is using the handset. So let's go over the headset option first. So the first thing you would do if you want to use the headset is dial the phone number, then click send, and then turn on your headset. Now mind you, all calls will be then routed to that headset with the device that you have plugged into the back. I'm going to end this call for now. Turn off my headset option. The next way we can do it is via the speakerphone. So if you click the speakerphone, the light turns on, and then you can basically dial the number, and then click send. Now mind you, all calls will be going through the speakerphone. And then when you want to hang up, you can either hit the speakerphone button here or click end call. The last way to do it is if we use the handset. So take out the handset, you see that we're greeted with the numerical area. So I can start dialing out there. And then I click send once again. Now once the person answers, you see that we have numbers here, basically letting us know how long we've been on the phone call. Up here, we see the number that we have dialed. To the far left, we see our extension. And then on the bottom, our soft keys have changed. So on the bottom, we see that we have transfer, hold, conference, and end call. Now I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in the video, but for now, I'm just going to end this call. Now let's say, for example, you want to answer a call. So the first thing you would see is the number associated with the person that's trying to contact you, and then either their name or it will be blank. Now we have a couple of options. We can answer, forward, silence, or reject. If I pick up the headset, that answers it. If I click this answer key, that answers it. Or if I put it on speaker, that answers it. So in this case, I'm just going to click answer. And I see that we're greeted with the same options that we were with previously. So we have transfer, hold, conference, and end call. Now mind you, for this tutorial, I'm just going to end the call and then refer back to these later. Now, the very first thing I like to talk about is a blind transfer. So basically a blind transfer is you more or less transferring a phone call to someone without notifying them. So let's go through that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to receive a call. So going back to the answer the call basics, you click answer. Now in this case, I'm talking to the first party. Now they now would state I would like to be transferred to another person. So the first thing that I would do is I would click the transfer button, and then I would dial the number of the person that I would like to have it transferred to. I will then hit B transfer, and that automatically routes that call to that particular person. Now let's say, for example, I would like to notify the person that I'm transferring a party to them. The first option I would do is I would click transfer, and then I would start typing in the phone number. I will then click send, and I now see that number is active. Now once they answer, I can then notify this person that I have someone else on the line for them, and then if they accept, I can now click transfer. Now let's talk about placing a call on hold. So one, you would either have to answer or make a call. Now once we're inside of a call, you see that we have those options, or the soft key options that we had before. So now in this case, I'm just going to press the hold button. And then on the other side, they're going to hear some nice little hold music. Now once I want to resume the call back with them, I can click resume, or I can hit new call, which allows me to create another call. But in this case, I'm going to click resume. And then I resume with that party. Alright, so now let's talk a little bit more about making a conference call. So I'm already inside of a call, so the only thing I have to do now is hit the conference button, and then type in the number that I would like to have conferenced in. I then click send to contact that second party that I would like to have conferenced into my phone call. Once they answer, I just click conference, and now I have a conference call. Now mind you, I can click manage, and I can remove different parties. So if I want to remove the first party, I can click remove, or if I want to remove the second party, I can click remove there as well. I can place both calls on hold, and I can resume, then I can end that call. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about is checking your voicemail. So, say for example, someone left you a voicemail. The first thing you would see on your screen is that you have one new voicemail. Above that, you will see a little icon that states that you have a voicemail waiting for you. And then the indicator light all the way on the right-hand side will blink. Now mind you can either click this connect button, or you can click this little messaging button here, which takes you to your voicemail too. So let's click the messaging one. It will then ask for your PIN. You type in your PIN. And then now you're able to listen to your voicemail. When you're done, you can either hang up the headset, or close up the headset, or click end call.